It's been over 6 hours now since the world has been crippled by a massive Microsoft outage like nothing we've ever seen before. Global services, as a result, has come to a grinding halt. Domestic, international flight operations have been hit globally, luckily not in India, but globally, banking services, payments have been impacted. Also, media networks have completely shut off, going completely off the air for the last 6 hours and counting. Microsoft at this point in their latest statement said that we're working on a resolution, but they haven't really given clarity just yet of how much time it could actually take for normalcy to return. You can only imagine the level of losses being reported across the world right now. In India, we are seeing the impact largely on flights, but globally, it's extremely overwhelming to see what's playing out right now. Ayush Elavadi, our tech editor from Business Today TV, is joining us on this broadcast. Ayush, 6 hours and counting. Who would have thought it would take this long for, the cybersecurity vendor of Microsoft to fix their bug? Does it look like we could expect a solution anytime now? Because like I said, we cannot even begin to imagine what an impact this is having globally and the kind of losses it's reporting.
Absolutely, Akshita. Very, very unfortunate series of events that unfolded. But just to clarify a couple of things, we reached out to Microsoft and CrowdStrike to just figure out what really happened. And in this case, Microsoft said that they are aware of an issue that is affecting Windows devices because of a third-party software, which is Falcon Sensor software. Now, who came up with this software? It's a cybersecurity firm called CrowdStrike. And CrowdStrike also issued a statement. And that statement essentially said that, yes, we know this is impacting Windows devices. Their CEO said this actually, George Kurtz, president and CEO at CrowdStrike. And he said that Mac and Linux devices are not being impacted. But he wanted to clarify that this is not a security incident or a cyber attack. It is only a system update failure. Now, it all started, Akshita, early on in the day, in the wee hours of Friday morning for us, when this update was sent out onto Windows devices. So that's the real connection with CrowdStrike and Windows, that they chose to roll out this update to Windows devices. And after that, all hell broke loose. And yes, this has brought systems to a standstill all around the world. The only real question is, what was plan B all along? CrowdStrike issued a fix, which was quite simple. So it's the IT teams that have gone in overdrive. But what about the legal implications? Who's liable for all the damage that's been caused, for the billions of dollars that are lost in the bargain?
And I think to really understand what kind of losses we're talking about, it's going to take a couple of days at least to figure that out. Ayush, speaking about what's really happening right now in India, look, globally, we're looking at banking services taking a hit, payments being completely halted, transport networks have completely crashed, coming to a halt right now. In India, largely, the impact is being felt at airports, ground services in airports being hit. But beyond that, the SBI, the NSE, they've all issued statements saying, look, we're doing okay, we've not been hit by this outage. Explain that for us. How is it that India hasn't been affected as badly as in America or a UK?
Well, Akshita, that's a very interesting question, which would require some deeper introspection. But at first analysis, what I can tell you is that this CrowdStrike solution, this cybersecurity solution, in simple terms, is like an antivirus software. Right now, whoever's using some version of this antivirus software has been impacted, that too with a Windows device. Now, other reasons could be that maybe they were using a different cloud solution provider here in India. Maybe we had leveraged our risk. And like I said, it's not just Microsoft who offers these cloud solutions. It could have been maybe we're using Google or Amazon Web Services. It could also be that we have very cogent, strong cybersecurity solutions in place, which are other alternatives to CrowdStrike. So there are a bunch of reasons. And look, we are tech savvy, and we've discussed this previously through the course of the day with our reportage here at India Today, that at the end of the day, we've seen how resilient we are as a people as well. There were manual boarding, handwritten boarding passes being printed, even here at all our top airports. I mean, look at the inventory we're dealing with at Delhi and Mumbai, and still we managed to do it. So I think that there is frugal innovation involved over there as well, because we are impacted. It's just that we find solutions in frugal and more innovative ways.
I think hat tip to the personnel to immediately figure out how to address this crisis. Yes, we're seeing delays. Yes, we're seeing cancellations. But look, compare it to what's happening globally, where most countries have grounded their flights. We're still ensuring that to some extent there is normalcy, that passengers don't face that kind of a crippling situation. So in that sense, India's faring much better and also dealing with this crisis perhaps much better than several other countries are. Fortunately, we haven't seen the kind of mega mass impact also that other countries, at least some of the countries, are seeing. We've also got all of our reporters spread out across different parts of the country at different airports. Saurabh Bhaktania is joining us live from the Mumbai airport. Shilpa Nair is live with us also. She is joining us from Chennai. We've also got Cyrus with us. Cyrus John Mutulali, editor of Emerging Tech with IndiaToday.in. Cyrus, I'll just come to you. I just want to get a report first of what's happening on the ground at different airports across the country. Saurabh, to you first. Several flights, we're being told, have been cancelled at the Mumbai airport. Passengers quite disgruntled as well, but there's really nothing that personnel can do at this point at these airports.
Well, absolutely, Akshita. Let me tell you, it's just an helpless kind of situation. We are right now at the Mumbai International Airport, and look at this situation right out over here. This is one of the busiest airport, and let me tell you, at every 3 minutes, a flight takeoffs and lands over here at Mumbai International Airport. There is so much of crowd over here, and at every gate over here, you can see that how there are long queues, and people are actually suffering very badly. And this is just the situation right outside the airport. These are the main gates, Akshita, and let me tell you, the situation inside is still worse, because at the boarding gates of all the flights and airlines over there, there's huge crowd, and people, several of them are not aware what is the status of their flight. Let me tell you, Akshita, I just spoke to a person who had his flight to Nagpur. It was an Indigo flight, and he passed through this particular gate. He took the boarding pass. The security checks happened, and while he was just about to board the flight at that particular time, at that particular moment, he was told by the airlines that the flight is cancelled, and he had to come back. He had a very important meeting, and this is the situation right now, because people are not being updated. They are not getting the timely messages through the airlines as well. So this is right now a chaos-like situation. Right now over here, you can see that there are the CISF officials who are tirelessly working out and people and guiding people to show that wherever there is less queue, they can go over there. But here people, you can see they are standing in long queues. This is not just at this particular gate, but once they pass on to inside this particular airport at Mumbai International Airport, then again there will be long queues for the boarding as well. Then there are the security checks, and by the time several of people have missed their flight already. So situation right now at Mumbai International not going well right now. People are coming over here. They are not very much informed. Once they are coming over here, then they are getting to know that their flight is delayed or their flight is cancelled. So it is going to take a long time, Akshita, when things really come back to normal.
There's a backlog, of course, that will have to be addressed, which will lead to a further delay of many flights. For all of our viewers out there, if you're going to be catching a flight later today, remember you have to reach the airport much earlier. Entering the airport, that particular software has crashed, so that's happening manually. Check-in happening manually, security happening manually, so you can only imagine how much time it's going to take at the airport. Add to that, your flight may be delayed, but that's just a chance you'll have to take if you're catching a flight today. Shilpa Nair is joining us live from the airport in Chennai. Shilpa, any cancellations reported in Chennai?
Well, Akshita, confusion prevailed at airports across the country, and the situation here in Chennai is no different. In fact, we've been here for the last 3 to 4 hours. The situation was much chaotic earlier. It has eased up a bit is what I would say. But even now, you can see the kind of, there's a long queue of people waiting to get information from the counters, from the airline counters about their flight status, because several flights have been delayed or cancelled. In fact, as far as the Chennai airport is concerned, the update we got from the authorities here is that 10 arrival and 11 departure flights were cancelled today, and 12 arrival and 20 departure flights have been delayed so far. So all of these passengers are waiting in queue just to get an update from the airline staff as to what is the next course of action. Will their flight be rescheduled? Will they be given a refund? What are the options that the airlines are giving to the passengers? All of this, of course, will be discussed. I'm just going to speak to some of them here. Sir, how has your flight been impacted today, sir?
I am supposed to go to Coimbatore from Chennai at 6 o'clock by Indigo. The Indigo staff itself, they are not aware of the cancel of flight. There is no alternative arrangements. See, disaster can happen in any field. I am from hospital industry. I am in KG hospital. I am proud to say that we faced the COVID situation very effectively by India. Through India, every other country has learned. But this is a small situation where they would have managed well. There must be a plan B. If plan A fails, there should be a plan B. I don't know why it has not been analyzed. The risk has to be analyzed and it has to be taken care.
Did you get any update about a refund or any flight that is being rescheduled to take you to your destination? Anything that has been communicated?
Forget about the refund, madam. There is no aware of the staff about the cancellation of flight. I need to update them. There is nobody is available to answer our queries. Now they say service up. They could have operated the flight by delayed 2 hours, 3 hours. I don't know. It has not been arranged. And if we go to the counter, they say the ticket is 16,000 rupees, which is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. Government has to look into this.
What passengers right now
seriously
are going through.
Airlines cannot
Passengers waiting for hours together only to be told that there's nothing that any of the airlines can actually do to help. So it is a difficult situation that many of them find themselves in. And of course, they're waiting at those airports for hours together. Cyrus is also with us, tracking all the latest with regards to this massive global outage. Cyrus, 6 hours, I'd say even longer than that if you actually look at when Microsoft started actually glitching in several parts of the world. 6 hours plus and counting right now. We got the last statement that came in that said that a fix has been deployed. What really does that mean in layman terms? And does that mean that in the next hour or so we could be seeing resumption of services?
Akshita, is just more about understanding how fixes happen in Windows ecosystems. You get a fix for your Windows, there are certain problems in your Windows file, and this fix happens not immediately but in phases. So the fix that we're talking about here is basically going to happen in phases, it's not going to be immediate. Now, while the company has said that the fix has been released, it's just about a couple of hours because the magnitude of the problem is such that they cannot just sit on it. So while the company has said that the fix has been released, I think it will be a couple of hours. It has to be coordinated between Microsoft and other companies. So make sure that all of the patches are being fixed in the system. Because see, since the update is being released in patches, it's not going to be immediate. We can expect at least a couple of hours till the entire ecosystem kind of gets a fix for this problem.
Okay, Cyrus, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Cyrus explaining to us that it's not really a snap of a finger solution. This is going to take time, but at the same time, with every single minute, I dare say with every single second right now, we're talking about a massive loss globally, and the estimates could run to billions at least at this point. So we don't know really, and possibly a few days from now, we'll know how this has really impacted the economy as well. I'd like to thank all of our reporters for joining us. We've given you a sense of what the impact of this outage has been in India. Let's talk global right now, because the impact in several of the biggest cities of the world is far, far worse. Airports have taken a hit. Flights essentially have been grounded. Major airlines have said, look, we can't fly in this situation. We can't do our check-ins. So they've stopped flying out completely. Let's begin with a report from London's Heathrow Airport. Lavina Tandon filed this report for us.
I'm outside the Terminal 3 Heathrow Airport, and as you can see behind me, a lot of people at the moment have gone inside, but these people, mainly from American Airlines, have been majorly impacted by this Microsoft tech outrage, and many of them are coming here and they do not know what will happen and whether they can be put up in a hotel. I just spoke to an old couple who are sitting outside behind there, and they are trying to find a hotel because they do not know how and where they can stay for the night because their flight has been cancelled. Similarly, that's the situation with a lot of people who are going to Denmark as well. These are the people that I have spoken to, and if I could take you inside to show you the kind of queues that are here at this point in time. Now I'm just trying to go inside to show you that. If you give me a sec, just see behind me the queues they're going through outside, and this mainly for the American airline, but then otherwise there are many other airlines that are being impacted, and people are not being given hotel or help with all of this because their systems are absolutely down, so people are having to just sit down like this, if I can show on the sidelines, and figure out their life as of now. So in the UK, it's health services, the GP surgeries, the airports, some of the rail stations, and not all of them though. This is quite interesting because, and also something to be noted is that not every airport or every place has been impacted. Internal systems are okay, sort of, in some places, but when it is something to deal with outside, like a business to consumer, B2C, that has been impacted a lot. So GP surgeries, therefore the appointments of the patients, etc. And here the flights, the payments. So it's not all the airports, but definitely London affected, Heathrow affected, Edinburgh affected, Manchester it seems is okay, Glasgow it seems is okay, but Heathrow, you can see, is majorly impacted. London for India today from Heathrow Airport, London.
Australia, too, one of those countries that's been very, very badly impacted by this global outage. Let's take a look at some of the reactions that came in from passengers who were stranded at the Sydney airport.
Our flights have been cancelled, so now we're trying to find accommodation in Sydney, which is not easy. Our daughters are trying to do that online, and then we'll have to try and get a flight home somehow, somewhere, sometime, don't know.
It was very chaotic, so whoever arrived here, they had no idea what's going on. I mean, this is the first time I experienced something like this. So I saw everyone checking with staff member, like what's going on, what's the next move.
It was so busy, we didn't know what was happening, and we understood that there was a problem with the system. So we've been waiting until they told us that the flight was cancelled. So now we are trying to book another ticket for tonight, but they're $600. So I gave up.
Earlier, I also spoke to a cyber expert, Kanishk Kaur, to understand really why this outage has happened. Could it have been avoided? Should there have been a plan B? Interestingly, Kanishk also joined us from an airport where his flight was delayed. What we're seeing right now is unprecedented, almost apocalyptic in several countries across the world. And the question everyone's asking is, how long is this going to take? How long are we going to see this kind of an outage?
Hi, Akshita, thank you for inviting me. I think it's going to take minimum 2 to 3 hours for this to get resolved. It is a major security lapse that have happened on the side of CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike is a major cybersecurity company which provides endpoint security solutions and security monitoring. This issue is with respect to their Falcon sensor, which is providing security on Microsoft. So wherever CrowdStrike is deployed on Microsoft systems, the systems are crashing, and it is happening globally across banks. It's happening at hospitals. It's happening at airports. I am at an airport, and there is a major disruption here as well. The company CrowdStrike, its shares have gone down by 18%. It is listed on NASDAQ, so it is not an issue with Microsoft, but with CrowdStrike, which is used for providing security solutions on top of Microsoft. So any company which is today using CrowdStrike on Microsoft systems is seeing their systems appearing blue. The systems are not able to boot. Normally, such disruptions take bare minimum 4 to 5 hours. Companies invoke their BCP plan, business continuity plan, to ensure there is continuity of operations, and disaster recovery methods are created to ensure that there are mechanisms put in for resolving this. Microsoft and CrowdStrike will have to work together to ensure that systems are live, up and running, but you will see major chaos, which is going to happen across the airports, across retail shops, across banks, across IT companies which are using companies like CrowdStrike for security.
Explain to us also, Kanishk, at this point, look, internationally, globally, we're seeing banking services being hit, transport networks that are down, flights, as we mentioned, media networks that are down. In India, relatively, it's not been as hard hitting. It's been, yes, flight operations which have taken a hit, airport services very badly affected. But beyond that, we don't see the kind of widespread impact that it's having globally. Why is that?
See, this is where security is required. Security is normally required on critical infrastructure. So critical infrastructure includes your banking, which includes your airports, airlines, power systems, hospitals. So wherever there are critical systems, you would see security systems of CrowdStrike getting deployed, particularly the CrowdStrike sensor systems, which are Falcon sensor systems, which are getting deployed. So anyone who's trying to access will see a blue screen. So major IT service providers which are using CrowdStrike would have disruptions, which could be companies like Tech Mahindra, HCL, Infosys, Wipro in India. Globally, companies like Accenture, Deloitte, they would see disruptions when they are providing services to airports, when they are providing services to airlines. You would see disruptions happening for large data centers, which will include NIC data center, which is government's data center. Telecom service providers will also see an impact because they also would use CrowdStrike. So wherever security is critical and company like CrowdStrike fails, you would see systems getting disrupted and blue screens appearing. So that's one of the key